INCRadio DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
The power
conversation. It could change your whole life.
INCRadio Chatline. Conversations that matter.
Hello everyone. Welcome to INCRadio Chatline, where we have conversations that matter. I'm Elsom Janvila Cruz, live here from Rockford, Illinois. And this is a very special topic, at least for me, anyway, since actually I presented this topic before once in a different show, and we ran out of time talking about it. So I figured, this Chatline has like a longer time slot, and I have some of my friends here as well who I haven't talked about this yet. So this is gonna be a pretty interesting conversation for me. I hope it is for you as well. And don't forget to share your thoughts there in the live chat as well. We'll try to read all of them, but no promises. So let's get started. I want to ask my friends here in the panel, Arnie, Tony, how much time do you guys usually spend browsing social media?
Sometimes too much.
Okay. I'll take that answer.
It's like during the day, I really can't go on social media because I'm busy working. So a lot of times I'll do it like right before I go to bed. And I just do it just to catch up on things. But then sometimes you see so many things that's so interesting that I'm like, oh my goodness, it's already 3 o'clock in the morning and I gotta get up in 2 hours.
That's when you decide, do I try to stay awake or do I dare sleep and hope that I wake up on time?
No, then I have to go to sleep. But sometimes I try to do it where I'm like, oh, maybe this will get me tired. If I just watch a little bit, maybe that will get me tired so I could fall asleep. But then when things are so interesting, it just won't put me to sleep. So I think that's the bad part.
No, that I don't know, that does make me think of like when you find something interesting like on social media, do you like tend to like look into it more? Like you do? Yes.
I don't want to say tend. Tend is not the word to use at all, EJ. I don't think you tend to do it. I think it just happens to you without you even realizing that it's happening to you, because it's the rabbit hole. When you find that one video, the algorithm knows you. So once you see the one and then you scroll, you're like, oh, there's another cute rabbit. This is so cute. Oh, what's happening is really nice. And then it knows how long you're spending on it. And then you go to and then like 2 hours later, I've looked at like 50 different cat videos of them just doing silly things. And I'm like, I need to go do things and be productive because this feels terrible.
Let's see my recommended, like in like not sponsored Instagram, like the recommended post, it's all cat videos from like 50 different like cat video accounts.
Yeah, see, I'm not a cat person, so they'll never put that stuff on mine because they know I don't ever. I'm a dog person, not a cat.
I love both. Okay, I love all animals in general. A lot of my feed is just animals. I get so soft just for I like like you just get like you wanna just through the screen, even through the screen. I think that's what grabs me is just all the animals.
I think my feeds are the talented children. Like there's this one person that I follow because like ever since she was 3 years old, the very first thing she sang or that they put out on social media was The Little Mermaid. And so I like to watch her. And then there's another kid whose dad I think is a chef. And, so then he cooks with them. And so I think that's cool when you get to see the little kids doing things on social media. I think that's interesting.
I feel like I know which one you're talking about. He has his like own cookbook and he's like on the healthier. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I like him too.
I think the dad is Korean and then the mom is white.
Just kidding. We're talking about it.
But it's
kidding.
interesting that like that's a very like like you think it's like a niche
Yeah.
sort of like like this makes you unique in the internet.
Yeah.
But the fact that you both thought of like two different chefs, like it just goes to show the amount of like how saturated
Mhm.
the social media is with like different kinds of content that like will really just catch like your attention, even if like like what you're interested in is like what you'd say like unique, like oh I want a chef that like sings. You'll find it. You'll find it in social media.
And there's another kid, I think he's from Hawaii, because he's, when he first started, he had like the Hawaiian shirts, and then he talks about all the different, Hawaiian foods and stuff, and he's like really adorable too. And the thing is, on him, it's just him. Like, you don't see the parents or anything like that involved. It's just him, and he does cooking also, and it's just cute. It reminds me of my nephew when he tried to cook as a little kid, and he had to step on stuff just to get to reach the stove. So
And I get never like, speaking of like, aside from like cat videos, I get recommended a lot of like recipes for like food. I think it's because one time I saved a recipe from like how like some social media, they give you a feature to they have a feature to save like a video or a post that you want to come back to. And I saved quite a bit of like recipes that I was like, okay, when I have the time, when I have the ingredients, I'll try them out. And then it just started popping up more on my feed, like the recipes. I was like,
I'm the same way, because I like to cook. And so when I find things that's interesting, whether it's, an entree or dessert, I will click on it and then I'll save it. And then, so yes, I get a lot of food. But it's pretty cool, because when you try it, because people say, oh yeah, it's really good. It's really good. But then until you try it, you really don't know. But there's a lot of recipes that I did, and my nephews love it. And so every time I visit, they're like, oh, can you make me some mango bango? Or they have like different versions of spam musubi, different ways you could do it besides just rolling it, and things like that. So it's pretty interesting, because then, what you're going to serve changes. It's not like you're serving the same thing every single time, so it's pretty cool.
yeah.
Hmm.
And sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just reacting. I was just saying, 'Cause now I was hungry. For me though, in terms of stuff that's actually on my feed aside from animals, because maybe that's what you guys think that's the only thing I look at. I also this is the one where I can get down the rabbit hole fast, is anything that has to do with music and how people came up with certain songs, like the breakdown, or even just how they do the layers, and it's like the BTS of like in the making of like blah 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 blah, whatever song it is. Those are always, whoa, my mind is, yeah. Music nerd. I'm so sorry, but not really.
No, I know. I'm the same way. Like you guys know that I sometimes I just spout like random trivia. Because the thing is with me, if I find like a claim on the internet, like on social media, I find a claim, I find some trivia, I have to look it up. That's why I asked you guys earlier about like the rabbit hole thing. Like, do you look it up? Because I do.
Oh, okay, yeah. Verifying, like, is
Yeah.
this real? I need to find out, and then you find out more, and it just becomes this whole lore of different things. Yeah.
Especially with like, is it entomology, like the origin of like words? I forget, that's like what you call the study of like studying the origins of words. Entomology,
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. If someone makes a claim that this word actually came from this, and I'm like, I have to look that up because I have to be sure before I say this trivia. I have to be sure that it's correct. So I like, and it becomes like sometimes I'll this is why I try to avoid checking social media in the morning, because like there were times where like I've gone through like the rabbit hole of like looking up like is this like fact checking trivia I found on social media. When I looked at the time, I was like, I was supposed to I was supposed to get up 2 hours ago. Now I don't have time to do like now I don't have time to to just leisurely do the things I need to do. You know, like yeah, eat breakfast, shower.
Everything
now
becomes like times 4 speed. Times
See,
4
that's
speed.
why I don't do anything in the morning at all. If I'm gonna scroll social media, it's gonna be either after work or at nighttime, but never in the morning because
Yeah.
just to begin with, I don't have extra time. When I wake up is in time to take a shower and leave because I'm not a morning person. So I don't even try to attempt to look at social media. I'll look to see if I have like text messages or anything like that came
That's what I
overnight,
do.
but that's it. But I'm not gonna go on like Instagram or Facebook or anything to start watching videos because I know I'm gonna get hooked. So yeah.
Yeah. I do the same. I check for like messages from friends, and then I try because then I
Yeah.
know if I don't, I'm gonna run late for work.
See, but I'm not really into like the pop culture or music. Like I listen to music, but if you ask me who sang it or what the title is, I wouldn't know what it is because I'm not that type. But I like to listen to a lot of like murder mysteries. So the ones where there are
True.
current cases that are pending right now, right?
Unsolved,
Like
yeah.
the different ones, and it's funny because every time I'm listening to it, I'm already thinking in my head, oh, this person is the one who killed them, this is the person who did this, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I was right. So those ones I like. The only bad part about that is when I listen to it at nighttime and I'm by myself,
It's like,
sometimes I start to get scared. And then I think I'm hearing things in the house and I'm by myself, right? So I'm like, oh no, is someone trying to break in? Is someone trying to kill me?
yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like true crime stuff. You know, I get why that's like easy to listen to, especially if you're like doing something else. You know,
Mhm.
like you're cooking, you're cleaning. Like it's easy to listen because it's in a sort of like a podcast like
Yes.
format, like especially if there's like multiple hosts and there's like that conversation. You know, like it's entertaining to just like listen to them. Sometimes I do that too. Sometimes I don't even follow in the conversation. I just like having like background noise while I'm doing I'm doing something else. But yes, like I forgot what I was gonna, but but just you know, like in terms of like when you're uh doing, you know, like you're going through like uh you know, like social media, um like what about it do you think tends to catch your attention?
Say that again.
Um, what
Like
catches
when
our attention for
you're
social media?
like say you're scrolling through social media, what about it tends to catch your attention?
Music, usually for me. That's always like the first thing to kind of grab me, or good visuals, I guess.
Yeah, the good visuals, yes. And like I said, so depending on what's going on. For example, I'm from California, and so we're known for high-speed chases. And so if I see something that looks like a high-speed chase, I'm going to click on it because that's what we're just so used to. So I think when you see something that just grabs your attention, that's what I tend to look at. But if I see like a cat, I'm just going to keep scrolling.
Oh, come on. Cats are cute. But
My example, I that's fine. We can be different.
no,
We're different. I got
sorry.
it.
I guess
It's
the
fine.
question was a little vague. But I mean, like for me, sometimes like it catches my attention because you know, like it's you know, I get that though. That's like, and I guess for you, it's like entertaining, right? That's what like That's why it catches your attention. Like for me, sometimes it's like it catches my attention because it's something that I don't have yet. You know, like when I see, like let's say when I see a post about, you know, like a car, or like not even the specific car that I want, you know, that like not even the specific dream car that I want, but just something that looks like it, like that would catch like my attention, you know. Or sometimes it's just I'm not gonna go into specifics, but just sometimes, you know, like social issues that I have, you know, I have opinions about it. I'm not gonna go into, you know, like it tends to catch my attention. You
And
know, like
sometimes like the captioning will catch it. Like sometimes I'm just scrolling and then I see something like, oh, look what Karen did. You know, do you know
yeah.
anything Karen? You know that's going to be entertaining. So then I'll click on those things.
You guys remember from a couple of years back those uh like it's sort of like a pop-up ad that you kind of have like on the side, like you know, like 10 celebrities who are now broke. Like you will not believe number 6. Like
Yes.
as a kid, I was so tempted to click on those, and I was like, you know what? No, I feel like I'm gonna waste a lot of time. And I was
Those
doing
get on my
online
nerves.
school. Yeah, I was doing all this because I was like, you know, I can't waste my time on this. Like, I'm curious, but
The clickbaity stuff doesn't do it for me. Like whenever they have that kind of like short end, like like what you just said, like you won't believe number 8 because they're trying to get you to go through the whole article. I'm like, no, I don't have time to. I don't have
Yeah.
time.
And then they don't even get to the number 8.
Yeah, and I'm like, no. I've gone through those so many times. I'm just like, no, nothing.
You know the reasoning why they have those slideshows? By the way, Nathan Russell here, Fort Worth. So apparently this is what they were doing and they got caught, and I guess this is why you don't see it anymore. But they were claiming, like these news organizations especially were claiming, like, look how many clicks our website gets. And their count, and every time you click an image, it would count it. And so yeah, you would want to click through each one. And so they were like artificially bumping up their numbers and telling their investors, like, hey, look how, you know, interactive our platform is. Don't you want to advertise on it? So that's why you don't really see those anymore.
Sometimes I do, and I'm just like, I don't want to click through every single picture. Like, why can't you just show me the list? Like, just show me the list. It's so annoying to have to. It takes so long to load.
Now you know.
Once I get to those where it says click next, I just get out. I don't even bother. But
I
the
only
other
check
thing,
the ones that let you like scroll.
yeah,
Exactly,
no,
clicking
I
on
don't
it.
like that either. The other thing I like is when I see like a map of something, whether it's a map of the US or of other parts of the world, because then they give you interesting facts about the different parts of the world. You know, like one of the big things they do now is, you know, if Texas was its own country, we'd be one of the biggest countries in the world, kind of a thing. And then they talk about like the economy and all that. So I like geography, so I click on when I see maps like that.
I also like video editing. Like that stuff catches my eye to kind of when they show you like how they can do. Like there's certain filmmakers that I watch, and they'll give you I feel like all my stuff is behind the scenes stuff. It's just like the the breakdown,
Production, you know.
the production. Like, yeah, unique, but it's okay. I don't think anybody can relate, but that's all right.
Yeah, this
And,
conversation reminded
and
me.
production.
You get a lot of like production. That's what I'm getting. You're like this. I just remember this because back then, this like I feel like something that I probably wasted a lot of time on social media back then when I was a teenager. It's, you know, like those quizzes, like you know, this quiz is like, which superhero from this franchise are you? You know, like those kinds of quizzes. I spend a lot of time on those on I don't know, on social media, and it's, you know, like just like the what we were talking about earlier, those pop-up ads that kind of like have that list, like it's very eye-catching, especially if you're maybe you're just giving examples, is you're a bored teenager, or you know, you're home from work, you don't really have anything to I know to do, you know? Like, and you're just browsing through social media. It's very tempting to click on those, you know, to take the quiz, because you're like, oh, you know, I wonder which superhero I'm the most like, you know? Or if I'm more like a dog or more like a cat. Like it's very, very. What was that?
I just wanted to add, because I didn't think about this one too, is from the live chat from Fran. She said aesthetic vibes or cozy home decor, or even like meal prep. We kind of mentioned meals earlier, but even the home stuff. Yeah, that's always nice. You're like, you get to see like, oh yeah, this would be nice. I like the ones where they live in like a car, like they change the whole setup so that it's like the home inside And yeah, I like ones like
Like
that.
a van, like a
I like
Yes.
I like the DIYs
Yes.
where they do renovations, whether it's a room or a house, or even there's one that I like where they do extreme backyards where they make the pool look like they're at a hotel resort, things like that. And then I'm thinking, can I build that? Can I do that? It's like, maybe if I had the tools, I'd do that too, right? But yeah, I think the home decorating stuff is pretty cool.
Oh, Renz Diaz, he mentioned that I'm like a jump scare when I just came on. So you
'Cause you
remember
like to do that.
do you remember the first time you had a jump scare from a video someone would send you?
Oh,
I
I
did
remember
that
those.
to other people. I'm so sorry for all of you.
I've actually done
and 2010 to 11s.
I've actually done the opposite where I would edit a video of like people pushing a giant rock like off a cliff into like some water, and you're like, "Oh, there's going to be a big splash." And I would like pause it and make it act like the video was buffering, and then I'd be like, "Haha, I got you." Yeah.
No,
I-
the ones that I like is where people do pranks where they jump out of places and scare people, and then sometimes they'll fall back or something, and then it's just like all different kinds of scares, right? And then it's just so funny, and I end up cracking up the whole time because you have grown adults who get scared just because someone says boo.
That's me. That is actually me. I get so startled all the time.
No,
Please don't video me and put it on social media.
I'm the one who scares. I'm the one who says boo.
I am the one that gets scared.
I'm laughing because I remember like one instance where someone I know got scared by boo. It wasn't even a loud boo. It was like a soft
Yeah.
boo.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
for you, those of you who don't know, it was Tony.
And I spilled my drink. Like I was drinking pop, and I was like one of those things. I was like, no. I
See,
get
this
so
is how this is how thin I was before. I was able to hide behind the door frame where she didn't see me. She walked past by, and it wasn't even a loud boo. I just went boo.
Yeah.
You know how you say you spilled your drink? That's funny, right? But for me, what's funnier is when you scare somebody and then they punch that person in the face.
Oh no!
It's, like, hey, you shouldn't have scared them.
Marnie, did you get punched in the face?
No, I have never. Never.
Stand at a
I'm
distance.
too short. They can't reach me.
Oh no. What's pop? I'm sorry, soda. Soda for those who are in other parts of the world. I guess no one else says pop elsewhere. I'm from the Midwest. It's pop.
No, pop is from like the 50s. That's what they used to call it back then. They used to call it soda pop. And I think even in the South, they call it pop. But I think it's like back in the days.
Yeah.
And in
I
was
laugh at that.
pop. Before I used to call it soda, but after like after what, like 11 years in the Midwest, I call it pop. Like I didn't even notice like when that changed for me. But we're getting a little bit distracted here. See, this is like social media. Social media can
Wait,
be
hold on. Before you go on, I have to tell you what Renz wrote. He said, I like watching workout videos and tell myself I'll do that later.
Yes. Standing ovation. Standing ovation for that comment. You know how many saved I have in my you can save videos, right? I just have this whole so
I think
many
we all do that. I got the
Yeah.
same problem.
I'm gonna implement this into my routine. I never come back to it.
You think that's the thing, and then it's not the thing.
But but yes, like just saying how much of a distraction social media can really be, for us. Like, see, we were just talking, like we weren't even browsing social media. We were just talking about stuff we find on social media, and look how distracted we are. They got from the conversation. So, just like not to bring it like too seriously, but I do want to get your guys' thoughts on this, because this is something that I've noticed in myself. It's like, let's say when you're browsing social media, you find, for example, let's say like a social issue that you have an opinion on, or just maybe something that like, what's the right word? like makes you feel feelings for a little bit. Like, have you noticed like a difference like in your mood, like before browsing through social media, while you're browsing it, and then after browsing social media?
For me, for me, I don't see a difference only because if I'm seeing something that is upsetting, I will just, I'll start scrolling. Like, I don't want to watch the whole thing. For example, where, when people, the ones that I see a lot are like the dash cams where people are ramming into people and all that stuff. Once I see like even just a little bit of it, then I'll just kind of scroll it so that I don't see it. Or when they have something on the news that's not fun or entertaining, then I like to just scroll because I mean, there's a reason I don't even watch the late night news is because a lot of the times they don't talk about good stuff. It's always something bad that happens in the area. And so I try not to watch it so much and just scroll so that I don't have to see it.
I wish I had your resilience, because like for me, or your resolve, because for me, like I don't know why I watch the entirety of it. Like sometimes like it's like a news item. Like when I'm just browsing through, they call it reels. I forgot what it's called. Where you just like swipe. It's like the YouTube shorts. I just remember what they're called. Sorry. They're like YouTube shorts. Where you kind of just browse, and like sometimes I'll find like a news item that like it's not entirely, that makes me feel a little bit worried. And I don't know why like, unlike you, I can't just like scroll away from it, and I have to watch the entire thing. And now now I feel bad. Now like I have this emotion. It's like building inside me. But oh, go ahead.
No, because like that, like let's say like whether it's something political or something like you said, social standings, if it's something that I know it's gonna bother me, I don't like to watch it. I won't watch it because then because then I think that's the only time I'll get off social media and then I'll actually be able to go to sleep is when I see those kinds of things. See, but if it's entertaining, I'll keep watching it. But if it's something like that I know is going to make my blood boil, I tend to not do it because I don't want to have that type of influence in my life. And I don't want to have that I don't want to get upset over things that we don't have control of, or I don't want to get upset over things that, I mean, it doesn't affect me personally, but then it affects other people. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Arnie. For me, it's, I guess, to the level to which it's affected me is that I've actually had to delete social media, just because, not even necessarily to Arnie's point, and she was speaking more on anger. Like there's stuff that affects me just emotionally, like just being sensitive, like it deeply saddens me, or just seeing things like that, it affects me a certain way. So I kind of have to step back from it, and because sometimes you can't really control what just shows up in your feed. It just happens. And you can unfollow like different things and you can block certain things, but you can't always anticipate what's going to just show up there when you're scrolling. So when that starts to happen, or because there are times where I've cried, where I've actually like cried at certain things, and that's how I know I'm like, okay, I need to step back from this and not get so consumed by it. And that happened to me just recently. Actually, I deactivated it for a few days. I don't want to permanently delete it because I do want to keep in touch with certain people, but sometimes I do need to do that just to get that breather, because it does affect me. I think it's like the empathy part, speaking to like what Artie was saying, like when you see what other people are going through, that kind of thing. So
like for me, when I see either kids getting bullied, or children with mental disabilities, how they bully them or pick on them, or even like when people are just like child abuse, like people are leaving their kids in the cars, those are the things I don't like to see. And so I will just scroll those because, one, I don't want to see what happens in case the outcome is bad, right? But two, I don't like it when people pick on kids. Kids can't defend themselves, where, if you want to pick on an adult, that's fine. They're old enough to take care of themselves, but, no one's there to take care of the kids and to defend them. And so when people do things to kids, I think that one frustrates me. So I try not to to watch those things.
I mean, hopefully, like you, kid or adult, you don't bully anyone. so, yeah, because I ask you guys this because, like, for me, sometimes even not even the video itself or the post itself, uh, sometimes it's like and I don't know why I do this. I read the comments and just seeing how people are like fighting, kind of like over like
The best part. That's the best part.
Yeah, because sometimes the comments are the most entertaining. Like the video is okay, but it's the comments that everybody puts that just makes it so funny.
There's those videos where it's like as soon as it comes on, you're like, oh, I'm going straight to the comments. I'm gonna see what they're saying. I know it's gonna be good, and you're never
I get
disappointed.
this.
No, and it's true because my sisters, they'll send crazy stuff that's not even entertaining, but then they'll say, read the comments. And then that's what makes it entertaining is what the people put.
But in like just in terms of like the like say the post is like something upsetting, and then seeing how like sometimes people will make light of it, or even like, oh, good for you for doing that bad thing, like it kind of makes me sad, like to see this. I don't know why I do this to myself sometimes. Like, like you said, it's out of my control. It's not really something I can do. It's not anything I can really do something about, like where I'm at, but I don't know why I did it to myself. So I feel like before it was sort of just a need to, like I need to be informed, like even if I don't want to see it, like I need to be informed so that
You just have to be nosy is what you're saying.
I'm not really.
You just want to see what's going on.
It's more like, like I need to know like what the issues are, because I don't want, like I guess like I don't want to be that one person that's not in the know with like what's going on. Now it's, I know it's sort of less. It's sort of less that now, where now it's sometimes it's just curiosity about like knowing, oh, what's going on here, like why is this on the news, and like things that like recently that have made me like I guess, and like what Tony said, sometimes it just surprises you because you can't really predict what's gonna be on like your social media. And for me, it's like seeing, like sometimes like seeing like a celebrity I kind of like pass away, like it's like, oh man, it kind of like I didn't like it brings my mood down for the entire day for some reason, and then I kind of have this regular. I kind of wish I didn't browse through social media today. Maybe tomorrow. I should have done it tomorrow or in another day, because I was already kind of tired already, and now like I opened social media to relax, and now I don't really feel all that better, afterwards. And like I do sometimes I do want to take a break from like social media. So that's something I want to ask you guys. Like, have you tried like I know Tony, you said you have, but Nate, Arnie, have you guys tried like taking a break from social media, even like deactivating your account or just not opening it, for a couple of days?
I would say not anymore. I don't really do that anymore, just because for me, like social media, like I have my friends there, and it's kind of like a one-way street for me. It's like I just post things and I just see posts and I just kind of move on. I know that when I was younger, it kind of affected me more. Like I would be like, I need to get off this thing, and kind of don't feel good about myself being on here. But now that I have like just a better, like a better, more mature viewpoint on how I handle social media, like it just doesn't bother me. I'm like, it's for fun. I do this to stay connected with people, and anything else I can, block out or not let it bother me, and I could just move on. I don't have to respond to everything I see, because there is a lot of that in social media where it's really just trying to get a response out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to agree with Nate on that. For me, like I've never disabled any of my social medias because it's the only way I can keep in contact with my friends from out of the country or not anywhere near here. And so I don't disable, but because I will admit, I need social media so I could stalk people and see what they're doing and see what they're up to. Right? And see, but like I said, once I start seeing something negative, whether it's in the videos or whether it's in the posts that people do, I've learned to just ignore it or just keep scrolling. And so that I don't have to see it, because I'm not going to let, those little things mess up that I don't get to see what my friends are doing. Because like I said, with all my friends, they all have kids, they have busy lives. Sometimes we don't have the time to text each other on a regular basis. And so just watching their kids grow up on social media, I think that's pretty cool that I never would be able to see since we don't get to see them. So I don't turn off my social media. I think I've learned to accept that it's going to be bad. And then there's things that's going to be good, but I just don't focus on the bad and just keep going. And I think that comes with age because, Nate's older than me, but yeah.
But Tony, I have a quite different question for you, since you already mentioned about taking.
Oh no.
No, don't worry, it's not difficult. But like, what's the difference that you notice? Like, let's say from when you're maybe like too engrossed in social media and then you take a break from social media. Like what's the difference that you notice?
That's a good question. What I will say is that when I've reduced my time on social media, I'm less likely to pick up my phone so much. I feel like before, especially when I had notifications on, I would be constantly like checking to see, like what was going on, what was happening. Now, not so much. The times that I've gone off of social media and I just like deactivated it, I feel like those are times where I've been able to really give to myself in terms of focusing on how I want to, possibly do self-care. Whether that's putting lavender aromatherapy to help me relax, just stuff like that, or doing like a avocado kind of mask, to relax at night. It's with the time that I'm not spending on social media, I can see where I can allot it to other things. Less about a mood thing, but what I will say is that when I am on social media, I feel like I'm taking a lot of things in from people, and I think that is the part that kind of overwhelms me. Not that it's whether it's good or negative. I think it's just the knowing that kind of like overwhelms me. So when I don't have all of that, it's kind of like less noise. So I think my brain just gets more quiet. It gets more quiet in general. But what I tend to do with my social media, though, I kind of like what Nate said earlier. It's more of like a one-way thing. I'm so sorry if I don't get to watch all your stories or like all your posts, but I'm more in the camp of I will post something that inspires me. I will post something like I'll post pictures of things that just make me happy. Like if there's a really nice sunset, I'd be like, I want to share this with everybody and put a nice quote on it and hope it makes somebody's day. Because I'm that kind of person where I want to be able to reach everybody at the same time. And that's what I love social media for, is that you can do that in that way. So yeah.
I like to post the food that I cook so that people will say, can I have some? And I'll say, yeah, come over, because nobody comes over to my house.
Oh, you're so far from us though. Like, come on now. I would, but that's a whole flight.
I will never turn down free food.
Yeah, true.
I will never turn down a free meal.
I remember way back in the MySpace days when I posted my gummy bear pancake that I made. Me and Arnie probably have a different approach to how we post food on social media. I'm like doing all these experiments, like when I attach the whisk to my power drill to make food.
Oh,
I saw that. I was like, what is that? I don't have a power drill, so I can't do that.
Same. I would like to try though.
Oh, what?
No, I would like to try. and that's what it does too. It influences us to try things that you wouldn't expect, like
No,
using a whisk on your
and
power
that's so true because like before I was watching people growing like mint or basil and all that, and I'm like, oh, that looks so easy, I could do it. And I did, I tried it. So some things, it makes you go out of your comfort zone to try, and for me it's a lot of it is the different recipes. I will try different things, but it gets you trying things that you never would have tried if you never saw it on social media. So sometimes it's pretty good.
I kind of want to go back to what like Tony was saying, because it like what you said earlier about being overwhelmed. I think that's like that was the word I was looking for. It's not really that it affects your mood, but it can overwhelm your senses a little bit. And I have been that person who like like when I'm waiting in line, I'm like I'll just look at my phone, check social media, like every chance or every time that I get like a free time, like I would look up, so I would look at my social media accounts and like look, oh, like who posted what, who messaged me, and like it's like I've been that person, and sometimes I still have the impulse to do that, like like if I'm just standing around or just waiting in line, like I have the impulse to just pull my phone up and check social media, because I think it's like that like when you're engrossed kind of into social media, like you kind of have this feeling of like you have to keep up to date with what's going on, right? Like I don't know if you guys know or heard of the term like what's that term, like perpetually online? No, that's not it. Like the where most of your day is spent on social media, and I just like the word you use, overwhelmed, because I think that's what's happened, not just to me, but I think to a lot of people as well. It's like the the their senses are overwhelmed by social media, that not looking at social media feels kind of like boring, like there's no like the kind of like the stimulation that seeing all the posts, all the likes, the shares, then and everything, like seeing all that gives, where like they you feel a constant need to be a part of it, right? But just also also going into like share, like you guys mentioned, like posting things, like like is your mood, or like, or do you feel like sad maybe if like a post or something that you shared on your feed doesn't get a lot of likes?
I used to have that feeling. Yeah, like I said before, now it's just I post it and I don't even check on my posts anymore. So I really don't know. And I know like a few of my posts just randomly, it's like, oh, 1,000 people liked it. And I'm like, what? Who are these people? And to me, it's not a big deal, because it's like who cares if I get 1,000, 5,000, or 10? Like my day does not change. I think I've had like up to like 50,000 likes on a post just randomly, and like you don't get anything for it. Nobody gives you a certificate or anything. So it's just like I said, like when I post something, I'm just like, I do that so that my friends can see it, they can get a laugh out of it. But I no longer see it as like my value or self-worth. If anyone interacts with it, if people interact with it, I'll be like, hey, cool, and I'll interact back. But if not, I mean, I just move on to the next post. I mean, it's probably because I used to be a social media manager for a rugby team that I played for, and the whole approach was just like everything just became numbers. It's like just post every day. So kind of just develop that attitude, just post and don't worry about it. And yeah, I don't see, yeah, just to cut it short, I don't see it as, you know, part of my self-worth. Although I do know, like for the youth, it is a big deal.
I'm because I asked because for me, like I used to post like stories, and I'm not gonna mention the website anymore. If you know it, you know, like that, because it's a website where you can post or your own your own stories. Like it's they call it books, but it's not really books because it's online. It's it's sort of online on online books where you can like self-publish like your own books, and it makes me sad, you know, like when uh like seeing how little or how very few people actually choose to read like what I write. And actually one of the things, like one of the reasons why I don't write anymore or I mean the reason I don't write now is just because I don't have time, but it was one of the reasons why I stopped. Like it's because you know, it's not really, no one's like really engaging with like the content that I put out. You know, I guess, you know, this isn't something like what I make isn't something that people like. So like it's just something, you know, like it affected sort of like my self-esteem a little bit back then. Now you know, like what you said, like not basing my work on like how many people interact with what I put out. Like now it's now my posts are mostly just for my friends and family who I know, like I know you guys will find this funny. So I'm posting this. Like nobody else needs to find it funny. Like I just know that you guys will. You know, that's but for I don't know, for Arnie, because I saw you unmute as well earlier. Like
No, for me, like Nate says, we'll post stuff just to post it, whether people like it or not. It doesn't. I really don't care. You know, I'm not posting it for them. I'm just posting it just, you know, in case anyone cares and they want to see it, they'll see it, right? But I don't look like, oh look, I didn't get any likes, or oh look, no one's commenting. You know, so it doesn't. That doesn't really affect me.
For me, I think it's less about the number and more about who's watching. It sounds so weird to say it that way, but like, you know, you can see I feel like there are people who tend to like look at your stories just to see what you're up to. And it's always interesting to see like who's on that list versus who's not on that list. So it's like, oh, like, you know, these people want to see like what's up with me. And I think that that is touching to me that they're even like concerned to just even like look at what it is. But then you also get sad at seeing like who's not checking in on you, I guess, in that way. So
But then, you know, it may be because those people aren't on social media all the time. That's why, you know, so maybe it's not you. Maybe
sometimes it
it's
is me.
them.
I think it is me. I think it is me.
you know that brings up like a question now in my mind about like the effects of like social media. Like how have you seen social media affect expectations now in like, you know, like in friendships, relationships, you know, like how have you seen affect expectations that people have?
Well, I don't know about whether it's relationships or anything like that, but I've seen it where the youth will look at something in social media, and then they'll either get envious or they'll get just like, this person's already doing this with their life, or look, somebody's got a new car, and instead of being happy for them, they're more jealous as opposed to being happy. You know what I mean? But then, I just have to remind them sometimes when people post stuff on social media, it's like a highlight of their life. It's not what their whole life is about. They still have problems like everybody else, but of course, they're just going to post all the good stuff in their life, for whatever reason, whether it's just to let everyone know how they're doing, or maybe it is they're just showing off. And so, you have to kind of put that into perspective.
How about you, Tony or Nate? Like how, like maybe, you know, like how have you seen like social media affect like, you know, expectations, for example, and not just, you know, like what Arnie said, not just expectations in friendships and relationships, but just in general.
That's a
Not it.
hard question because I feel like a lot of my friends nowadays aren't as active on social media like as I am. I mean, I feel like with friends though, you just send things directly. So Oh, I feel kind of bad because I feel like I got a long list of things from friends I need to catch up on that people send me.
That grade.
What if what if you send your friend like you send your friend a meme and they don't check it for like a whole month or a whole week? How would that make you?
Why are you calling me out? Oh my gosh, you're calling me out on that.
Same. Sorry.
I have some New Year's greetings I need to catch up on. Well, I mean, it is kind of like overwhelming. I mean, for me, just thinking the opposite. I'm like, I like what we mentioned before. It's like, well, some people aren't, terminally online, so can't really hold it against them. If they see it, cool. If not, that's fine. It's like kind of getting the hint that they don't want like 50 reels a day, but some people do. So it's just it's just part of knowing a person and relationship and knowing the give and take.
And some of my sisters, when they send stuff, they're like, "Did you see that? I sent you something. Did you see it?" I'm like, "I'll look at it when I have time." But but they'll follow up with you to say, "Hey, did you see what I posted?"
No, what is like what you said, like sometimes we forget that we might be like, for us, we might be like lounging, relaxing, and sending our friends 50 reels. And like for them, they might be busy, or they might be in the middle of something, or they they might be wanting to step away a little bit from social media, so you don't get the response. And
Or don't forget, they could be in a different time zone too.
that too.
Because I always send stuff to my sisters and I'm like, why are they not responding? And I forget that they're 2 hours behind. They're still sleeping. And then when they wake up, they call me, "Quit texting early in the morning because you're waking us up."
Because it's and the thing is, it's so fast now to have that communication, that I feel like like, just speaking for myself, like I've been guilty of like that, like putting that expectation of people to respond right away because I respond fast when they do. I've been the person who, like, in the middle of some what's that?
Also guilty. No, disagreeing with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been that person who, like in the middle of like something, once I see a text from like my friends, I'll open it right away and I respond right away, and then I put the same expectation to them now. Or like, and the thing is, especially like in once you get older, it's like you don't always have that time to respond right away. Sometimes it's like it can take you days to respond to someone, right? Just because of like how how busy you can be, or you might be in an area where we might be in an area where you don't have signal. You don't have signal, you don't have Wi-Fi, you can't really, you want to communicate, but you can't really communicate at the moment, right? And with just how fast information is, especially the internet and social media, I feel like the expectation is that the response will be fast. So it's I feel like that's a way that it's sort of like affected expectation when it comes to, and just the things that like I don't know when this started becoming a term, couple goals. Hashtag couple goals on social media. I feel like that's been a big influence as well on like expectations, especially with like relationships, where people are like, it has to be exactly like this, or it's not perfect. If it's not perfect, then it's this won't work. Okay, it's like, I feel like that's been away. But honestly, I do.
Excuse reality. I think it's excuse reality sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, this is kind of a question as well that I want to ask, like, you guys. Just a quick answer will do. Like, what contents, on social media will you not allow yourselves to be influenced by?
Anything negative.
Mhm.
When I see stuff there that's negative, either I won't finish it or I try to forget about it because I don't want, like that. I don't want it to ruin my day.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm old enough to have, seen many things on the internet that, would try to influence you to think one way or another. And like on a long enough timeline, you realize like there's some other motives that people have for trying to influence you to think a certain way. So just from my experience, like if I have my set principles as a Christian, that I, it's been tested all throughout my life. I'm almost 40 years old. So that, whenever something new comes my way, if it goes against, those core principles, then it's like, I'm just going to reject it outright. And if I'm not sure, I'm like, well, I don't have to make a decision right now as far as like what my opinion will be. I can wait, because on a long enough timeline, you will get all the information and you could make the right decision. So that's just coming from, my experience.
Not taking it like at face value. But how about you, Tom? Like, what's like content, opinion, or whatever that you won't allow yourself to be influenced by?
There's a lot that's out there. A lot of I don't know anything else that I can add that Arnie or Nate didn't say, but it does go back to asking yourself, like, is this part of who I am? Is this like who I want to be as an individual? And that may seem like a lot to ask yourself in that moment where you're like watching the video, but the algorithm knows. The algorithm does learn your habits, and being able to unfollow what you need to unfollow and being able to curate your feed a little bit better, if that's what you need to do. If you need to hop off certain platforms, you can do that as well. You don't have to be in spaces forever. And just me personally, like, I've made more of a point to keep in contact, even just personally, like one-on-one. Social media isn't always like the whole picture and everything. So yeah, take the time to communicate directly too.
And here's hoping that this conversation has mattered to you and has brought maybe to your attention maybe some things that you yourself have you haven't noticed yet in yourself, and this conversation has like brought it to your attention. We're like, I'm I was like that, or I'm I have that tendency to do that or to think that way, right? And I hope that this conversation has also influenced you to create a healthier relationship with social media overall. Like know when it's time to put the phone down, time to log out, and time to experience the other things that this fine life has to offer as well. So we do hope to see you again next week. We enjoy all the comments there. Thank you for joining us in our conversation. Thank you to my panelists for joining me in this, in this topic today that, for me, it really matters. And we do hope to see you again next time on Answer Radio Chatline. Hope to see you guys next Friday again. Please keep tuning in with us. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Let me always dwell in the temple of the Lord till I breathe my last. This is what I ask. Let me always dwell in the temple of the Lord till I breathe my last.
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice